All right, I'd like to start the Leominster Conservation Commission meeting for January 28th, 2025. It's now 6 p.m. and we'll give it to Vice Chair Dr. Rich Gullett.
Hi, let's take roll call, please.
Okay.
That'd be great.
Roll call, let me just get my pen. All right, Mike Cici,
Here.
Nick Venti,
Here.
Bob Seacard,
Here.
and Rich Gullett.
Here. Our Chair Chuck Raymond is absent, and Commissioner Stephanie Quinlan is not here at the moment. So normally the first thing on the agenda is to ask if there's any comments from the public or questions that are not related to something on the agenda, but no one is here who fits that. So we'll move on to the new hearing tonight pursuant to Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act. Leominster Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing for a notice of intent filed by the City of Leominster, represented by GZA Geoenvironmental, Inc., for the stream bank erosion repair at a sewer line along a tributary to the North Nashua River. Address 230 Commercial Road, map 90, parcel 572-1, DEP file number CE 199-1208. And if you would just remind us where we are, because some of this was presented previously?
No, this is the first time.
Very
before the
first
meeting.
time?
Yeah.
Okay, so we had a site visit recently.
Yeah, me and Nick went out there.
And so miss, if you give your name and affiliation, you're welcome to present to the commission on this project.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you.
Here. I'm Robin Cassiopo with GZA. I'm a wetland scientist with GZA, so I'm going to do my best to answer any of the engineering questions that you have, and I do have some cheat sheets with me. Because there is an engineering, hard structure component. Yeah, should I?
Oh, yeah,
do you want me to flip it
yeah,
up?
do you mind?
Yeah, that would be great.
Oh, we don't have the,
Yeah.
I can learn that, I don't know.
oh, okay.
Now, that's on temporary hold.
Yeah, I know. So I can, all right, thank you.
There you go, Robin.
Okay, thank you. So to orient you a little bit, this is a tributary that flows to the North Nashua River, which is over here. And the water treatment facility is right up here.
By that, you mean the wastewater treatment plant?
Wastewater, yeah, sorry, wastewater treatment
Okay, just to
plant,
clarify.
yes. Yep, thank you. And so here through the site, this line with the S's in the hatch line here represents the sewer interceptor or sewer main that leads to the water treatment facility, the wastewater.
It is
Wastewater
water.
treatment
Let's call it
facility, yeah.
wastewater, not confuse it with drinking water.
Exactly. So it's a sewer line. It runs through the stream. It's in ground, encased in, is it concrete?
Yeah.
Encased in concrete. But it does flow through, it's underneath this tributary here, this unnamed stream. And due to the flows of the stream, the water main is now exposed. There's very severe erosion just downstream of the main. And so here you can see there's a more natural stream bankful width here. And then once it hits, it's difficult to see with these lines, they're kind of light on here, but as soon as it gets to the sewer interceptor, there's very extreme erosion, and it's created a plunge pool so that the water flows to the sewer line, and as soon as it drops over that encased line, there's like a plunge pool right there with eroded banks, and that flows out to the North Nashua River. So what we're proposing is to put a hard structure, riprap structure, just downstream of the sewer main, and to fill in the areas of erosion, so to bring the banks back to a more natural bankful width. So you are losing some bank and losing land underwater, and gaining riverfront area and bordering land subject to flooding. So those are the resource areas that we identified on the site. This is the structure here, and there's a cross section of it here. I know that's a little difficult to see from that far away. But the intention is to build this weir and then have a plunge pool here, further downstream of the sewer main, and have more normal or natural stream elevations running over the sewer interceptor, and have the natural bank materials on top of that sewer interceptor, as well as just downstream of it, so that your elevation grade is here instead of dipping way down to where the existing grade is right now.
So it won't uncover the sewer interceptor any longer?
So that it wouldn't, in theory,
Yeah,
wouldn't uncover, the main that's encased right now. And the stream would flow right over it, hit the weir, and then plunge into this constructed pool here to lose some of the velocity before going into the North Nashua River.
Makes sense.
That's armored with stone to maintain the bankful width here before it goes out to the river. That also has the stone banks for that bank stabilization project that was done before. So I can take
Makes sense.
Anything else you want to add?
questions.
Okay. I'd like
No.
to start with Commissioner Venti, since you were at the site walk.
Yeah, so we've got a sewer line effectively in the river, as it is. And I guess this, to me, seems like an appropriate solution to stabilize that situation, to protect the existing sewer mains so that it does not, so it's not susceptible to extreme erosion and damage.
And you say in the river, you mean underneath the river? Correct.
It's in the river.
Okay.
Well, now it is.
Yeah,
It's exposed.
It's presently,
Well, it's presently exposed. Was
the-
was not previously, is that correct?
No, it was
No,
underneath.
not
Yes.
previously, yeah, it was
Underneath.
below ground.
Okay, go ahead,
Yeah.
sir.
So, I guess, is this the typical remedy for this sort of situation, or would we prefer to bury the sewer main deeper? So that it's just not in the river and exposed like this?
That's a good question. And maybe Mark could speak to that a
Yeah.
little more, just because
For the-
I
Well,
I
what
know-
they're gonna do is,
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, we can't raise any more grade over it because that's where the bottom of the river, of the brook is right now. So so right now, the bottom of the brook goes over the main, and the main's acting as like the riprap she's showing now. So the main is plunging right after the main. So what they wanna do is extend that brook bed out, so that now it isn't scouring near the main and it's scouring further away.
That's all gravity fed? There's no
Correct.
pump, There's no pump,
Yeah,
right?
no, yeah, correct, that's
So
correct.
you're subject to the hydraulic.
Correct, we can't raise over the,
We can't
unfortunately.
lower it and then have to come back.
Yeah,
up.
exactly, you'd be backing up water behind it if we try to raise grade over the main.
It's gravity.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the reason for the riprap is to hold everything back so it won't expose itself once again, right?
Right, yep, and then there's natural, here, this darker, again, I'm sorry, it's difficult to see, but there's a kind of a bold dashed line here, and that's the new proposed stream bottom elevation, so that this would ideally fill with natural stream sediment, so you're not getting
Right.
that scour and erosion right after. It would flow more naturally over the main.
Usual solution is some type of erosion control, usually involving big rocks.
Yeah, well, I guess my other concern here is that, whereas we're imposing these rocks here, these hard materials in this area that doesn't have, the natural substrate doesn't include big rocks here. I'm concerned that we might get scour around the rocks in another flood, just because, you know, typically in an impoundment type situation on a stream, the dam is built on a neck point in the river, not in a place where the substrate is so mobile. So I guess that might be a potential concern, that in another storm event, you might get scour around the hard structures now introduced.
Oh, that could happen.
Could
No,
happen.
it's-
Did this happen
Yeah.
September 11th? This was,
Yeah.
I was about to ask
Yeah.
that.
We think so, I mean, we found it after it, so, yeah. I
Okay.
would think of it.
So it likely came from a major event. So any of the land that you're referring to that will gain or lose is we're just redoing what nature did to some degree in terms
Yes,
of
as far as
the edge
we
of
can tell.
the stream and
Yeah,
so on.
from looking at the Bagful width upstream and downstream, it looks like it will just be bringing it back to what's consistent with both of those widths. But to say that it couldn't erode around the stone, I'm not sure. I know that the engineers at GZA have run models and used that modeling for the design, so I would assume that that was part of their analysis, and looking at different storm flows and the impacts of different storms. But I could find more information on that for you.
I guess my concern here is that the stream, there's not much of a discrete channeling of the stream in this area. So should we experience another flood event, there's not a lot of corralling of the stream there. So-
Right, and there is upstream, so, and I see what you mean, how it levels out a
Right.
bit on either side.
Yeah.
Yeah, right at the main, and then drops off
Right.
significantly.
And the water main is effectively causing the hydraulic drop at
Yeah,
this
right,
point.
right.
So, should the engineering be avoided by the stream in some future flooding scenario, we'd be back to the same problem of the exposed sewer main. So I guess,
Do you have something in particular to propose?
yeah.
well,
Because the pipe needs to be protected.
the pipe needs to be
So-
protected. I guess I'm just, ideally, you'd like to see the pipe not at the level of the stream, like either below it or above
There's
it.
no way we can do that,
But-
that's the problem.
Yeah.
It's ground.
Unless you put a pump in, you know. it's a
Yeah,
pump
which
that-
we
it's not
don't,
gonna
we
Yeah,
have
yeah,
pumps
okay.
that we have to deal with, that's
So
more
it's-
maintenance. and-
Yeah. All right, so if that solution's off the table, I guess, what's the monitoring plan for this solution as well? Because, like I said, I mean, we're exposed to future scouring of this thing and future flooding. Is there?
Yeah, as far as what our role would be for monitoring the construction and then post-restoration, we're not proposing that GZA would monitor.
Okay, is
Um,
Are
does
you
the-
referring to
But I
post-storm
don't
inspections?
know.
Yeah, I mean, we can,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, once it's done, we'll definitely keep our eyes
Yeah.
on it, now that we
Well-
know.
I think that'll be a DPW.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sir.
yeah.
Welcome, Commissioner Quinlan.
Following the Mass DEP comments,
Mhm.
I would sort of echo that
Yeah.
that they really
Yeah.
should be monitored. Did you, I mean, I know I was standing in Bittersweet and probably a multi-floor rose down there. Did
Oh, yeah.
you notice widespread invasives following the DEP comments there?
Yeah, I'm not necessarily right there along
Yeah.
the banks of the tributary, but, I mean, clearly all the, Japanese knotweed that's along the river is always a concern. And we aren't proposing a specific invasive species control plan
Okay.
for the work, but we can say that fill coming in for restoration will be considered clean in that it's assumed there aren't
Sure.
invasive species, in the seed bank. So we wouldn't be reusing the soil that's already there because of the invasive species that are present. But we don't have like a long-term monitoring plan post construction or restoration.
I mean, we'll keep our,
Sure.
we'll definitely keep our eye on it now that we know, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah,
once it's
I
fixed,
appreciate
Yeah.
that. I think this is gonna be a long-term vulnerability, even with this
Oh, yeah.
engineering.
Especially with the North Nashua River.
One good thing is though, GZA designed that stabilization for the river, and that held up pretty good against the.
That's what I was just gonna
Storm.
say, that
That
held
was there when
up,
it
Yeah.
was
the corners have held up really well. Oh, so you did that?
I was going to say that as well, we did,
Yeah.
and we had, some supplemental plantings in there, some live stakes,
Yeah.
and some shrubs that I actually looked at during the growing season, and although they looked very sad, they were alive, and I saw buds and some small leaves, so, we're hoping next growing season they'll look even better, but, hopefully,
It
the
held
best
up
we can
good,
do
yeah.
is to plant some nice native shrubs and put down a native seed mix. And as with everywhere, you just hope it doesn't become completely overrun with the invasives that are,
Well, invasives have roots too, so.
So, yeah.
Commissioner, you got questions?
Well, I was just wondering if there was the opportunity to put some additional riprap upstream of the pipe to kind of channel the water where we would want it to go. Does that make sense, or is it just not going to do anything?
That I don't know. That would be an engineering question that they probably ran.
The
through
concern is
models,
the
but-
channeling of the water. If we could put some additional bank in there upstream
Yeah.
to get the water. Once the hydraulics get going, it's going to follow.
Yeah, I would think you maybe wouldn't want to channel it up gradient, because I think you would maybe increase that, I don't know if you're increasing velocity, but
Yes,
you're.
you
but-
will.
You
but you're-
would be increasing velocity, so
And
it
then
probably isn't a
if
good
that
idea.
main is downstream of
Right,
that channel,
right.
then
Yeah.
it's.
Yeah, it probably wouldn't be a
prone
good
to
idea.
That's probably why they
scour
wanna
and
keep it
erosion.
natural.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Let it flood
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, if it,
Yeah.
Well,
Is that
Other thoughts, Mike?
a cast iron pipe in a concrete?
it's a concrete
Or
pipe.
just concrete pipe?
RCP, so it's reinforced.
Okay.
I think any increase in velocity upstream would
Yeah, it's gonna hurt.
it would exacerbate scour when you get to,
Yeah.
when you get to the critical infrastructure.
Mike, anything else? Commissioner Seacard, questions?
Yeah, do we know the condition, Mark, of that concrete
Oh,
caisson?
the sewer's fine, it's just we're worried about it getting undermined and, something happening, so.
Okay. I was there today, and basically, it looks like a waterfall over the conduit.
That's what they're trying to fix.
Yeah.
So I kind of follow along Nick's idea of, correct me if I'm wrong, Robin,
Yeah,
this is all after the conduit.
yes.
Okay, so there's nothing before. We're not gonna plan on doing anything before the street. Can I have Exhibit A over
They're
there?
covering it, so, right?
Yeah, and now that you're closer, I can show you the cross-section here too.
It's basically a wares.
Yeah,
If you're not gonna do anything before, it's gonna channel further down and probably break that up even more.
They're covering
right.
it
We're gonna
with,
cover
So
it,
it's, yeah, so it's, you can
Right.
see.
They're gonna cover
they're
it,
gonna
so.
cover it.
Covering it with the
Cover it
natural
with what?
stream
Stream
bed
bed.
material.
With what?
Stream bed material?
The idea is to move that dam further downstream and then bring in fill from there going back
I mean,
and
it's
out
not-
and over the
Yeah,
pipe.
no, you're right, it's not like it's gonna be way deep, but it'll be, I'm sure, a foot of fill over it, you know what I mean, to get a foot of stream bed over
So the dam will, this is going east.
Correct.
Towards the river. So the dam will be,
it. That's gonna be filled, we're gonna put fill over that.
this is gonna be filled all
Yeah.
up?
Yep,
So that, this point here is this point here.
well, no.
Down.
It's
No.
further down?
Downstream.
Yep.
Yeah, that point where you were at. The point you took a picture of, you're looking at it from here, so this is.
That's it there,
Yeah,
okay.
that's it, right here.
Oh, okay. So we're not changing anything in here. This is gonna pool. This is gonna stay the same.
This is changing, so this is where the bold line's here. This is the existing line, so the photo was taken from right here. This is all existing water right now, and we're
Yeah.
proposing to pull the bank in, so the bank will, this will be filled,
Oh, okay, you are gonna
Here
filter.
will be
Yeah,
filled.
Okay,
Yeah,
that was
so
what I was getting at.
filled and stabilized, and then also filling in the
some in front of
stream
it,
with
So-
stream bed.
So that the hydraulic jump is downstream where it won't affect the
And
pipe or the
continuous
soil
flow
near
here
it.
to the rock structure.
It should slow the flow before it hits the pipe,
yeah.
which is an important thing.
To me, it looks like it's already kind of compromised.
Oh, it's totally compromised, sir.
I,
That's why we're here.
That's why we're doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I
it's
know that-
intact still,
Do
but
you
yeah,
mean
no,
the
I don't want
structure
water
itself?
going over that.
The protection is
Yeah, correct, the
compromised.
encasement's compromised.
Yeah, shouldn't say the pipe
Yeah, yeah.
is.
Yeah, no, there's definitely no leakage in the pipe right now, but we don't want that to happen.
This is very similar
Yeah.
to the case that we had on the river near there, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Very similar. And like Mark says, that riprap is held up really nicely.
Yeah.
That curve has taken some serious hydraulic pressure.
Yeah, since then, September 23.
I don't see that going away, though. I don't.
It probably
I don't
won't.
think we're mitigating anything.
I think it should protect that infrastructure, but I think in the
You
long.
gotta keep your eye on it.
I think in the long term, it's still a liability.
Yeah, still gotta keep your eye on
Yeah.
The creek's still there,
Yeah.
and the pipe will still be there, but it does need to be protected.
Protected, for
And
now.
that's what we're proposing. Commissioner Quinlan, do you have any questions?
Oh, no, I'm gonna recuse myself from this whole
Understood,
thing.
because you missed the first part of it, that's okay.
I have one more,
Yeah, please.
Chair. How long has the concrete been in there, Mark? Long time?
it. Long time, I can't remember what the date is.
So it's
Yeah. Yeah.
maintained itself for many, many decades,
Yeah,
we'll say.
yeah,
So-
Probably 1936. Guessing by the dates in the lobby of the treatment plant that I was in.
Yeah, that Fallbrook interceptor though, there used to be a different way it used to flow, so I think this interceptor was built, I wanna say 60s, 70s range, somewhere.
Okay.
Okay. So there's no one here in the audience to ask any questions. So moving on with this, to arrive at a decision, I'd like to have a motion to close the public hearing portion
make that
of
motion.
the meeting.
I can second that.
Thank you. If you would take
Yeah,
the vote,
let me
please.
just get me first. Sorry.
Take your
On the
time.
flow. Mike Seachy,
Aye.
Nick Venti,
Aye.
Bob Seacard,
Hey,
and Rich Gullet,
Aye.
and Steph, so Rich was abstaining. I should say.
Okay. I'd like to ask you if you have a recommendation, but you represent
Yeah.
not just the commissioner, but the city applicant directly out of the Department of Public Works.
I mean-
If you say thumbs up, go
Yeah,
ahead
yeah.
and approve.
I don't
the
think you
notice
need
of
any
intent.
special conditions on, I don't think you'd have any on this one, just because it's pretty, a unique project.
Any thought on that? That's a good
But
thing
that's
for
not-
them. So I was
yeah,
gonna ask if
yeah.
the commissioners think the special
that's
conditions
up-
amendments needed. Okay.
I can't think of it.
We do have a quorum with the four
Hmm.
commissioners who will vote on this. So is there a motion to approve the notice of intent submitted on behalf of the city of Leominster by GZA Environmental?
I will make that motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Siki. Is there a second?
I can second that.
Thank you, Commissioner Sikari. We're ready for a vote
Roll
then,
call.
sir.
Mike Seachy,
Aye.
Nick Venti,
Aye.
Bob Seacard,
Nay.
nay?
No.
No, okay. And Rich Gullet.
Aye. So it passes 3-1
I,
with Commissioner Quinlan recusing.
correct.
Okay. Thank you very much, Robin. That has been approved, and Mark will take care of getting the paperwork to you this evening.
Great, thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you, Rob.
Yeah, thank you.
Next would be continued hearings, but we have none. We have 3 enforcement items to discuss, 2 on the agenda. First is the 1771 Lock Drive update. And the site meeting on January 24th, Commissioner Siki and I were both there for that. The part along the river that we had looked at before was in very good shape. The Jersey barriers were there, some trees had been planted. We also met with the owner and the owner of the company that rents it,
Concord Landscape.
Concord Landscaping, and their manager, the on-site manager, I believe. and talking with them along with Chuck Raymond, our chair. And then the other part, kind of behind this, these storage bins or storage trailers, was a small wetland area, and there was no real issue there, but we gave warnings as to what could be stored, should be stored or should not be stored, keeping all, hazardous liquids out of that area, so that they're out of our jurisdiction. So in my opinion, there wasn't much to follow up on. What did you think?
Well, we also got buy-in from the owner to place the signs as you requested. No trespassing
Yeah, I meant to say that. Thank you.
on the riverfront area, so there won't be trespassing down there. I do believe that the Concord landscaping folks were reasonable.
Yes.
I could sense some concern on their part, so I think it would behoove us to kind of keep an eye on it down there. I think there was some stuff behind those storage bins, like spreaders and stuff, which could have residual, not much in, but could have some residual stuff. I'd rather see those spreaders out front, a few little things like that, but generally they were very cooperative and it seemed like they're gonna keep it nice and neat. They seem to have gotten all of the wood out of there, any scrap that they had,
Yeah, there was nothing hazardous there.
nothing hazardous
The
there.
salt was not in the.
There was a couple of
It
decent
wasn't
cans,
salt.
but
Wasn't salt?
No, it turns out that was bark.
mulch is what they said.
Bark mulch.
I don't quite buy it, but if
But
that's what
it's
they-
not there. There's nothing that's
It's
there.
not,
that
there's
would
nothing
be
there now.
Of any interest to draw us into something, I think, is how do we end the enforcement
Yeah.
order? Call
I
it
can look into
complete?
that, I've never actually,
Let's look into that.
yeah, I'll look into it.
Because we can check this one
Okay.
off finally after all
Yes.
these years.
Yay.
Can I ask a
Yeah, of
clarifying
course.
question? That wetland that has a 100-foot buffer within this lot there, put the stuff on it?
Yeah, it comes up 20 feet or so into the paved area.
Yeah,
The 100 feet does.
is that connected to a stream, that wetland?
I think it's a swale. It's just collecting water.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, so there's a stream further down.
It's a depression. That water will get to the river,
Okay.
as all water
So
will.
I just want to,
But subsurface maybe.
I guess I just want to confirm that it's subject to the Wetlands Protection Act, that wetland is in fact subject to the Wetlands
Yeah, it
Protection
is.
Act.
I remember the original plans.
Okay, so
showed that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just
Matt
wanted to
Morrow
confirm.
was there with us also.
I can remember the original plans, they
Confirm.
definitely was wetlands, yeah, I remember that.
Okay.
So the next item under enforcement, the second one is 76 Weather Vane Drive, and Mark will give us an update.
Yeah, I sent out the enforcement order, but again, it was only like a week ago, a week and a half, and I have not heard back yet from the owner, so.
Sorry, which one's 76?
This one with the clear cut in the back, and he had a bunch of chickens that they had removed. So I'll have to reach out to him again,
Okay.
but I was gonna give him a little bit for.
Sure.
Speaking of chickens, and looking at that, I came across something that there was a city ordinance.
Yeah, you can only have
No more
10
than
chickens.
10 chickens.
Correct. So
That
he had had
that didn't
30.
come up in the
Yeah.
previous ones, did it?
So when I was there, the
Now we
board,
know.
Yeah, I think it did.
Yeah,
Did it come up?
On South Street, I think it did.
on the board of
Because he had
health,
more than 10.
yeah.
Yeah, but I don't
North
think-
Summer Street, isn't it?
North Street,
Is that North, Summer Street goes into North Street, is that what it is?
Oh, yeah, Summers and Lunenburg, North Street, and Lumps, yeah, yeah.
okay.
And no mail, right?
No roosters.
Yeah, correct. He got, because when I was there, the board of health was there, and they were enforcing the chickens. He had had 30, so he was down to 10, and he got rid of the male, what he said.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
It's a big coop, so I couldn't see him.
That should fall to the purview of the Board of Health, not the
Yeah.
Conservation Commission.
So that coop will come in front of us.
Correct.
As part of
Yeah,
this.
yeah, yeah.
So
Mark, with
that,
the neighbor, I'm sorry,
go ahead.
were the neighbors complaining about the rooster?
I think they did get some complaint, I'm not 100% sure from Board of Health what I heard. I know the house, looking at the house 76, the one on the left is being sold, so I don't know how soon they just sold, maybe put it on the market when they saw what was going on, but I don't know.
Okay. We'll hear more on that one at the next meeting.
Yes.
Keep us up to
Yeah.
date. Another one to update on, briefly though, is the CVS case. So I would like to hear about that each
Yeah.
meeting if we could. What's the latest?
I had a meeting, because DEP wanted to speak to them, and they wanted to ask DEP some questions, so I was sitting in on it.
Oh, very good.
And they had talked about like what they were gonna use for the channel and how they were gonna reorient the culvert, so instead of facing, because right now the water all faces, like, comes straight out of the
Yeah.
house. So they're gonna put an angle, basically put an angle in the culvert, so they're gonna have probably a couple sections, so that now the water will be going straight down the channel instead of toward the house.
Nice.
So that's the design, that's a proposed design.
That'd be nice.
So, and they said they're working on it, so that's the last I knew. They were supposed to be getting ready to submit. I know one of the gentlemen asked me when the meetings were and the deadlines, so I
Okay,
assume it's coming. but
Good.
didn't hurt.
okay.
I could make a comment on that. I was over there with some friends next door, and the owner came out, and I just kind of caught him and just said, hey, is everything going okay? And he says, oh, we're thrilled. You know, they're being very communicative, they're staying on top of things, and so they're very happy now with CVS, so.
Thank you, Commissioners, we appreciate that. And congrats to this commission for their help at that. So the fourth one to cover is a Nashua Street update. And Matt Morrow, on behalf of Guido Di Giovanni Antoni.
Wow, good job.
Gave us an inspection report. I stopped by there today. I'll read briefly out of his report. And this was sent to us by Mark, but the completed work, remember this was clear cut. So it's a forgiveness, not permission scenario. The completed work consisted of a manual planting of 2 scarlet oaks, 8 red oaks, 1 bur oak, 12 American beech, 8 white pine, 5 black tupelo, 7 green spired linden, totaling 43 trees of different varieties, minimum of 2-inch caliper and a height of 10 feet. And herbaceous native growth had reestablished on its own. Erosion control had been previously installed and is still effective, so he recommends, with having observed that over the summer months, that the erosion controls can be removed as the site's stable, poses no erosion threat. He also concludes, excuse me, the restoration is compliant with the requirements of the enforcement order, doesn't recommend any supplemental action on the site at this time, but he'll revisit it in spring of 2025 and submit a report by May 15th this 2025. So I looked at it, the trees, when you look at the cleared area, it looks fairly somewhat sparse, but did a good job. I mean, our intent wasn't to have them fill in every tree that was missing, but
Sure.
to give it a good start, and that was succeeded, I believe.
Yeah, it sounds like there's some good variety in there.
Yeah, I understand that the owner was proud of what was done, I think he should be. And it costs some money if you work
I bet.
when we had asked about that, so that's it for that. Next items would be the minutes. There's 2 meetings to go over. I'm waiting on Word versions, though, from Mark, so that we can give comments back that way.
Do you want me to email them for now, or?
Yes.
Okay, all right,
Until we get the
Okay, till
website
we
thing.
figure
You
that out,
can
okay.
email them to everybody.
okay.
Tell you what, why don't you email your comments on it to me,
Yeah. he can-
and I will compile them into one document, because I've got a few myself.
Okay.
Okay? Don't go too deep into detail, there's
No,
plenty there.
Yeah, and Rich,
That's
I
okay.
was talking to Rich, I kind of went overboard. I didn't summarize it, I kind of.
Those are really detailed. No, I actually appreciate that line-by-line commentary, actually.
I asked for it to be different.
Yeah. I could be a little bit more.
Our agent Nick had them down at 2 pages or so. We just need brief summaries. We have the
film.
Yeah.
film as
Which is-
part of our record
Yeah.
to get line by line and so on. So anyways,
Okay, so I'll send
commissioners'
those.
comments, yep, send them to everybody.
Yep.
And then I'll compile them
Okay.
and we can bring that to the next meeting
Okay.
and get approved.
Okay.
And you can send them to me at track editing if you want, or just separate notes as to what you think.
Once those are in a Word document.
Yeah,
Once you
once
get
I'll send them to
Okay,
everybody.
thanks.
Yeah. Under commissioner comments, you
Yeah.
could say there might be some new filings
Yeah, there's one new
coming up.
filing, and I mentioned at the last meeting that Birch Street, Lot 2, they had submitted it back in December. I of course didn't start taking this over until early January, so I called and told him we didn't get it on the advertising for the first meeting in January. So he couldn't make this meeting, so he asked me to advertise it for the next meeting. So I'll advertise it for the next meeting. And I don't think I've sent anybody the stuff, I'll send you the plans, so you can start looking at them.
Okay. Let's see what we
That's the only
got.
new one that I have coming that I know of.
I thought we saw plans for that.
Did I send, I can't remember. if I sent them or
You
not.
did
Did I?
circulate plans.
Okay,
I remember looking at those.
Any other thoughts from commissioners?
I have one.
Okay.
I was approached by a couple of neighbors up on Elm Street. We had stopped a potential house build on the corner of Elm Street and Hill. The excavation had brought up, I think, 2 or 3 stumps that are sitting there. They're sitting above ground. They're not providing any type of protection for anything. And one of the owners up there was asking if we could ask them to remove those unsightly stumps, and if we would have a problem with that. I said, it's not my decision, that I would bring it before the commission, just to have them, the stumps that are above ground have already been dug up, remove them,
Yeah,
no problem.
no problem.
I can send you a letter.
Do we need to vote on that, or is,
No, that's
I think
inside.
That's common sense.
Yes,
Okay.
I can just send, yeah.
okay.
Okay, that was enough of a vote.
It makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yes. Any other thoughts? Before we close out? Our next meeting will be February 11th, 2025,
Should we even show up
with a filing
Well, we wanted to see
deadline
you.
was January 24th at noon. The meeting after that would be February 25th, with a filing deadline February 7th at noon. One last thing is the city is interviewing for the first round at least, there may be a couple rounds, but interviewing for the new conservation agent for that position. So
Thursday.
On Thursday. And Chuck's been involved some, looking a little bit, and I've looked at the job description, I've got comments to give to the city in the morning.
Okay.
So there might be some revisions to that coming in. And my comments largely related to how the agent communicates things to engineers and some of the priorities of their work. Still some things I'm trying to straighten out in my mind, because some of it's under the commission, some does this, some does that.
Yeah.
So hopefully going to work that out and be a little smoother in the future.
Cool.
Other than that, good luck to any of the applicants. And I'd like to would take a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Wow.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Quinlan.
I like seconded.
Oh, yeah.
Bob seconds.
Bob?
A vote, please.
Yes.
Yeah, that was
Mike
20
Cici?
minutes.
Aye.
Nick Venti?
Aye.
Bob Seacard?
I mean,
Steph Quinlan?
Aye.
And Rich Geller.
Aye.